ladies and gentlemen. We are Group F, and we're going to present to you NSFAS, the National Student Financial Aid Scheme by the government, and the corruption taking place there. Okay. In South Africa today, corruption is still one of our biggest problems. And the emphasis is always mainly on white-collar crime. That is corruption within government and officials at corporations holding senior positions. But as from Group F, we've decided to change the focus a little bit and focus on an issue that affects us as students. Throughout this presentation, we're going to take you through what happens in NSFAS, what we mean by corruption, and the implications that it has on the society, and what government intends to do about the issue.
Ethical behavior and ethical decision making is still a major problem to every individual. Ladies and gentlemen, as we have discussed already, that corruption is one of the biggest problems that is facing South Africa. Allow me to quote from one of the greatest icons, who once said, "Education is the powerful weapon or a tool one can use to change the world to be a better place." Dr. Nelson Mandela said these words, believing that in educating everyone can change the world and make it a better place. Ladies and gentlemen, through the statistics that we have made, we found that it's only 4% of the South African youth who get an opportunity to further their studies with higher educations. Ladies and gentlemen, NSFAS. NSFAS was initiated to motivate, recruit young South Africans to continue furthering their studies after completing matric. It was done to support the previously disadvantaged communities, and it's given to students who proves to be financially needy and academically deserving. Ladies and gentlemen, according to the research that we've made, NSFAS says in its 22 years of existence, it has supported more than 1.1 million students with funding and increased by more than 300,000 compared to 200,000 in 2011. Now, ladies and gentlemen, corruption is still the biggest problem that is faced by South Africa. Corruption destroys the gains of our freedom. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to have a look who really commit this kind of this corruption. What kind of corruption are they committing? What effect it has in the South African society, and how can this be prevented?
Well, my friend. Well, how are things? Things are bad, my friend.
What's the problem then?
Man, I've just received a letter from NSFAS. They rejected my application.
You. How come? Because they approved mine.
I really don't know. Because I attached the affidavit stating that I don't have parents and I really need money to further my studies.
Oh, this guy. You always use the valid information. Why are you using valid information? I use my grandmother's document, knowing that my grandmother's documents and also his payment slip, pension slip, and also her ID in order to acquire that thing. And also, guess what? I didn't get it.
Isn't that risky? What if NSFAS makes follow-up and they find you that you have parents who can afford to pay for your studies?
No, man, those people, they don't do the follow-ups. Because my sister did the same thing, my brother did the same thing, my sister's friends did the same thing. So I'm going to do the same thing.
But it's still illegal, and you can't use your grandmother as a means to an end.
No, man, if you see the opportunity, you have to take it.
But you deny me the opportunity to study.
No, man, dog is a dog.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
Good people, this thing does happen. Even though NSFAS is there to assist needy students, but then there's a lot of youth who don't have opportunity to study. Ladies and gentlemen, from this scene, most university students, colleges, they did fake affidavits in order to get NSFAS. And some of them, they can afford to pay their fees, their parents can afford to pay their fees. Ladies and gentlemen, NSFAS gives students food, books, transport, and accommodation allowance. And most of the students try to convert this book and food allowance into hard cash. Let's see what do you mean when you say that. Here is student from CUT at Funds Guide store. Then you make a transaction where this student uses the NSFAS, then is a cash student. Then they make exchange of this student one cash and that one get the books. And from student from SPA, there is a student from SPA buying a lot of drinks, then selling them to the store owners for cheap. And it's not fair to the needy student because they can just leave the allowances so that NSFAS can support other students. And ladies and gentlemen, some go to such extent that they negotiate with their neighbors, their friends' parents to get the title deeds, to fake that they live in a private accommodation, only to find out that they live with their parents, only they want that cash, and then use it for their personal gain, buying furniture, buying clothes, nice clothes, going to clubbing, and that's not fair. Let's check lately what happened on the news.
Good afternoon. You're watching Timeline News. I'm Glenn Museum. Hundreds of students have been protesting all around South African campuses over shortage of national financial student aid. Durban University of Technology, Tshwane University of Technology, and University of Johannesburg and other universities have been protesting, opposing this shortage of funds. Up to 130 million is needed to support qualifying students, amounting to 2,170. Even the lectures had to be stopped due to the violent protests of students. The police had to be called in order to protect those who are not protesting, but this has not been an easy task. Let's go live to Mr. Vumazenge at DUT campus. Mr. Vumazenge, tell us the situation there at DUT campus.
Students at DUT campus are protesting because NSFAS did not pay their outstanding fees. Police are being called to minimize the protest from escalating to be a violent protest. Police are using rubber bullets to stop the protest of students. Students really won't stop until their plead is heard. This is Tamako Fumazongo, VV Mavanga Vanga live at DUT. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Fumazongo. We will now be joined by Minister of Higher Education, Mr. PwC. Minister, welcome.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yes, Minister, we have seen the news. Students are not happy. What are the challenges facing NSFAS that leads to shortage of funds?
Currently, we're sitting with two critical issues. And the first one being students faking their affordability levels in order to access the funds, and previous beneficiaries of the fund that have actually defaulted on their payments. Those are the two major problems that we're in.
Okay, Minister. What are the government plans in order to ensure that to avoid this kind of situation?
Well, from our perspective, it has to be a collective effort because there's only so much that as government we can do. So we're holding on to suggestions from the community in general to assist us in resolving this illegal applications on the mercenaries.
Are there any new or improved internal controls?
Well, currently we're implementing a system whereby students are no longer going to apply through institutions, but are going to apply directly to the fund, whereby each individual application is going to be screened to ensure that such occurrences do not emerge in the future.
Minister, in overall, what can you say about the situation?
Well, I would just like to plead with students that have the means to afford their tuition fees, that they must resort to other means of funding their tuition fees other than the fund, because it's actually meant to help the needy students who don't have the means to support themselves. As well as when applying for the fund, just ensure that you are using the appropriate documents so that the funds can be properly addressed to the student. And as well, I would just like to urge the community. There's an act that was implemented by the government. It's the Prevention and Combating of Corruption Act. It's better. It actually gives a platform for people that are aware of this condition to actually come forward, because we actually need to deal with this kind of issue as a collective.
Thank you, Minister, for joining us. We have seen the news. We have seen that students have been protesting all over South Africa. Seems like ethics is an issue to South African communities. Thank you for joining Timeline News. Have a good day.
Clearly, this is a typical example of bad apples being a thorn in our system. Ethical conduct should be taught to every individual at an early age to ensure that they make ethical decisions at the end of the day. Ask themselves questions like, is it legal to use my grandparents' documents to obtain an NSFAS? Is it fair to other students who don't have another alternatives? Can it be disclosed to my priest at church? Ethics means doing good even if it hurts. And even when it hurts. Let us go into ethical conduct. National instincts should be avoided and rational thinking implemented so that they make ethical decisions at the end of the day. Corruption is an epidemic spreading like a wildfire caused by bad leadership, plus bankruptcy, take away transparency. Life does not mean life. What happens in life is that it's not the mere fact that we lived, but the impact that we made to others. Let us all join hands and fight corruption and educate South Africans.
Corruption, your no counts.